Hey, this is Glendon Cameron with another edition of Hustler University Drive. This section is how to create your own hustling paradigm. It will be in podcast form, so that way if you just want to listen and work, you can. Let's go on with step one. Hustling is a really strange thing. I'm going to explain to you how I got to this place, and it was a really convoluted journey. I've always been a big proponent of goals, making your goals, creating life goals, creating business goals. But the last few years, I realized that I did it backwards. I traditionally created loose life goals, and I created business goals that were more robust, had more flesh, more teeth and bone. And due to the fact that I was forced out of the storage auction business due to my health, I look back and in a strange and twisted way, I have the life that I always wanted. I just didn't know how to get here. So part of the new hustler mindset attitude is, as I go back through my life, I am dissecting, deconstructing certain pivots, certain points in my life that were like, oh, so that's what really happened. Because I've always known that it's more than just hard work, and it's more than just strategy, and it's more than just showing up at the right place. There's other things that come into play, and I'm starting to figure those things out, and I'm going to relay them to you. The first thing that you should do before you create your own hustling paradigm is make sure that your life goals are well defined and fleshed out more than your business goals. Because what you want to do is dovetail your business into your life. What I did for a long time was dovetail my life into my business, which is why I worked so many hours and worked so many days. And I wouldn't trade it because I learned a lot, but with the new understanding I have, I could have did it differently and actually been more effective. And, my mistakes and my experience, I'm going to help you not make those mistakes. So the first thing you do, and don't take a week. If you need 2 weeks, seriously think about the type of life you want. And I'm gonna say some stuff that may seem kind of strange, but since I am now a student of universal law, I really have taken the concepts and the things I've learned from the power of your subconscious mind to another level. I've did a little bit more research. I've come across some more information, and the power of your subconscious mind was huge in my success. I say Earl Nightingale, then the power of the subconscious mind, when I really should say the power of my subconscious mind. That book, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, actually prepared me for Lead the Field. And I think that I would have had success, but not have been as successful if I came across Lead the Field first, then the hustler mind, then the power of your subconscious mind. Because if anything that came from that book was, I learned to believe in me. And that's what this whole thing is predicated upon. The hustler mindset. The mindset is more important than anything else. Talent, resources, because when you learn to really get the hustler mindset, when you really learn and control your inner environment, and understand it is an internal battle that will go on for the rest of your life, there is no such thing as being done. It's something that's just going to go on and on and on. And unlike a traditional marathon, you want this race to go on as long as possible. The longer it goes on, the more that you benefit. So make your life goals, be really robust. Now, this is the stuff that's really strange, or you may find strange, or you may find enlightening. I don't know at this particular moment. But if you want to be married, put that on your sheet. And I know everyone's like, oh, no, if you're going to be married, it's just going to happen, or God's going to bless you. No. If you want to be married, put it on your sheet. This is how you describe that person. You go with attributes because attributes are more important than physical traits, because physical traits, well, in 2013, with plastic surgery and people being forever young, they may not fade like they used to, but still, the attributes such as compassion, temperament, personality, fun factor, whatever type of person that really makes you feel good when you're around them, put that on your list. Because the simple fact of writing it and going with attributes first, you can put physical traits desired, but go with the attributes first. Write it down. That's going to create that energy. Because, I talk a lot of smack in the videos, but there's a few practices that I use that enabled me to meet a lot of women. And it was using the power of the subconscious mind stuff by saying, I want this type of woman in my life. And actually writing it down on a sheet of paper. And 7 times, 8 times out of 10, she just shows up. It may happen that day. It may happen next week. But it usually happens. So write that down. Then if you want a family, if you want kids, put that down. I was like, hey, how do you plan for kids? Straight up, kids happen because people are having sex. If you have sex enough, kids could happen. So plan it. If you want kids, if you want 2 kids, put it down there. And put on your partner that you want someone who wants kids. Because you create this energy that you will draw the right people to you versus trying to ingratiate yourself to someone who isn't proper for you, who doesn't want the things that you want. So by you knowing what you want, you have a greater likelihood of realizing those aims, desires, and goals. So put everything down and understand these lists are for you. Don't share them with people. This is why you can be unvarnished with yourself and put all that stuff down there that your heart's desire. So you spend a week or 2. I mean, seriously, and really think about it. Do you want a big house? You can have it. If you want a condo, you can have it. You want a Mercedes, you can have it. Put it on this list. Another thing that's going to happen once you create this list, you're going to create desire, energy, and enthusiasm. Because there's all this stuff, and as you're writing the list, you should be excited. You should have that little feeling in your body. You should be tingling because that's a sign that this is possible. If you're writing it and going, oh, Lord, I don't know, man, is this ever? No, that's the wrong attitude. So write all that stuff down. Take a week. I mean, seriously, just pause this. Well, listen to it the first time or 2 or 3 times, but make sure you do the exercises. So you've got the list. You're defining what type of life you want, and really just boil it down. Boil it down. Because the more specific you are, and this is what I'm finding with my new understanding of universal law, it's amazing how close to right on that you come. The more sure that you are what you want, the greater chance that it would be realized as a physical manifestation in your life. It is so simple, it's spooky. It is totally, totally spooky. But it takes a little time to adjust to that. Now that you've got that out of the way and you're looking at it and you're studying it and you're smiling and you're tingling, and understand, your present circumstances have nothing to do with your future. You can totally reshape that. So if things aren't the way you want them now, that's now. We're talking about tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, next decade. You start making these decisions. You start properly training your mind. This will become a reality in very short order. Now, this is where we get to the hustling paradigm, because to use an expression that I'm fond of saying, I was putting the cart before the horses. And it worked out because the horses was pushing that cart really fast, but I think it would have been a little smoother. Now that you have the type of life, and I'll give you an example. I'll use my life. Right now, I have more decision-making freedom because I have a lot of things to do, but I decide if I want to answer email. Give you an example of the new thing that I am doing, and it's by creating a life of design. First thing that I used to do, and this was yesterday, we get up and go to my email. Email is a huge time suck. and I get sucked in for an hour or two, sometimes three, and that's all I'm doing. It's like, oh, whoa, whoa. So I'm on this new fitness plan. So I got up, I immediately went for my walk, I did laundry, and I decided that my work day is going to start around either 10 or maybe 12, because I'm usually working at 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock anyway, and I'm an early riser. I get up like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. So, from 5:30, 6 o'clock to 10, I'm doing email. And I was like, wait a minute. I need to shift the workout time because I'm doing two a days. I actually got two workouts done today, an hour each. And that's the power of creating and knowing what you want. So my new work schedule is pretty much 12 to 6, 12 to 7, 12 to 8, or 12 to 10, whatever, may dictates. And it's working much better because I'm getting those personal things I want done in the morning. Also, I'm writing books. Been working on a new writing schedule. So all of that happened. I hit my workout goals. I hit my writing goals today. And this is extra because I was going to do this particular podcast tomorrow. But since I am now on point and on plan, I was like, hey, I'll do it now. So by having the freedom of choice, it doesn't mean that you're just going to be sitting around going, la, 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 I have nothing to do. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you have 100% control of your time for the most part. There'll be times that you just don't have that, but you get to pick and choose what you want to do. So with your hustling paradigm, it may be totally different. Give you another example. Since you heard of the Airbnb, there was someone else who's doing Airbnb, doing Amazon FBA, and I'm going to touch on these other things later, and Airbnb, Amazon FBA, storage auctions, and picking, has all of this. And what he has done is, Airbnb pretty much takes care of itself. You put it on the website, someone gets it, rents the place, you show up and give them the keys. But he takes a week to do storage auctions because, he bought the consoles, and he goes out and he buys the biggest units he can find and he rents them. So that gives him inventory for the whole month. He goes out once a week, the heaviest week in his area. Then he goes out picking. Then he does, then he takes stuff from the storage auction units and he sends that to Amazon FBA. Some things he lists on eBay, some things he sells locally. He's realizing $7,000 a month from creating his hustling paradigm, from everything, from the Airbnb to the picking to the Amazon FBA, all of this. So the deal is he has 1 week that he's, it's balls to the walls because you buy storage units, even with renting them and everything, it's time consuming because renting a storage unit is like leasing an apartment. It's this long farm, and the fastest I've ever done it was 15 minutes. It's usually 30 minutes to 40 minutes to fill out all the forms and go through all the spill and everything. So he has that one heavy week, and then the rest of the time he's pretty free. And he makes more money than with his job because he used to be a bartender. And he's thinking of doing special event bartending because he likes it. And he has the choice to do it when he wants to. He doesn't have to do it. He wants to do it. So that's where I want you to get with creating your hustling paradigm. I'll give you another hustling paradigm. This is an older one. Young lady, she's married, 3 kids. She wanted to do storage auctions, but she just didn't see how she was going to do it with kids. Well, this is the thing I give people, which is the converse of what you're going to get on other sites. If you want to do storage auctions and you're limited on cash, you're limited on time, you're limited on, you don't have the proper vehicle, get the biggest, best unit, which probably would be the most expensive unit, and it will be scary, and buy it and rent it and sell out the unit. So she did that. Then she got really smart and she started selling stuff for other people. And then, essentially for her, she's in a small town, not a lot of storage units, but, she's dangerous out there. Now, she told me that when they see her coming with the kids in the stroller, they start getting mad because she's got cash. But this makes her $2,500 to $3,000 a month. To give you something to compare and contrast, her husband, who has a good job in the town, only brings home 2. So, when he comes home, he's helping with the business and everything. So this Little wrinkle allows her to stay home with her 3 kids, yet make more money than her husband. And, we've talked some more because she bought some consults because, she wasn't really with the hustle mindset project because she would just rather pay for consults when she needs them because she's really busy with 3 kids. So the really cool thing about this is she created a life of design. We've talked about that. And that's the thing, and that's why you have to make sure you have those life goals together. If you don't know what they are, that's cool. Figure them out. But work more so on that than getting money, creating a business. Because one of the reasons I did not jump back in the storage auction business was I became really enchanted with my new life. I've never had it like this. I'm not going to lie to you. I've never had it like this, where I just when I had the storage auction business and I had a partner, I had a lot of control. But compared to the control I have now, that was nothing. Because, auctions are Monday through Friday, and I had to go on their schedule. So 8 to 10 hours out the day, I was on someone else's schedule. It's not like that anymore. So with that, I became really excited. And then there's another thing. As I'm a research junkie, there's so many new technologies that are coming out there. Like Ribbon, I'm going to actually do a whole webinar on Gumball and some other things because I have studied, and going to that seminar, it opened my eyes that realistically, with the tools that are out there, I could double my storage auction income. And I give myself about 5 years. This is just a recent development starting this year. But in 5 years, I figure I can double my storage auction income and pretty much maintain the lifestyle that I have right now. So that was another reason, because in some regards, reselling is kind of limited because you're dependent upon getting good stuff all the time, people buying it, people paying on time. There's a lot of little wrinkles. And as we go further along with Hustle You and Drive, I'm going to teach you how to create products and information products and internet marketing. That's going to be coming later on because it's exciting and the potential is staggering. It is totally, totally staggering. So by creating your life plan first and then dovetailing your hustler paradigm in there, you create the life overall that you want, which is very, very powerful. And it's extremely powerful for people with young kids or family, because I do remember, and I remember deeply when I used to work at the hospital and getting all of the bailer or extra time or working doubles because we needed that money. I was working real hard for my family, but I wasn't really spending a lot of time with them. And to this day, I do regret that, because this is how crazy it was at one point. I would stay at home during the day with the 2 kiddos. Then around 2:30, 3 o'clock, I'm out the door to go to work. So the kid thing worked because we were real cool, but the marriage suffered. So we switched around to a traditional thing, and then craziness happened. And it was just like, I'm not going to do that again. So essentially, I remember the insane amount of hours I used to work because, part of the narrative of growing up in the South, living in a neighborhood where most of the men were married, men got up, they went to work, they came home, sat in a chair, ate dinner. That's what men did. And there's a lot more open to men now than it was open back then, but I think people just didn't know. So you could create this lifestyle. And I want you to think in terms of value versus time, because one of the biggest journeys is going from I make $10 an hour, I make $23 an hour, I make $30 an hour, I make $50 an hour, because it's tangible. You know that if you make $25 an hour and you work an 8-hour day, that's $200 a day, that's $1,200 a week, $4,800 a month, roughly $60,000 a year. But is it really the time that you think? Because a lot of people don't factor in. I used to factor in the moment that my feet hit the floor, because I wasn't getting up to get up. I was getting up to go to work. So that wasn't, in my mind, work time. So your hourly wage is not as great as you think it is when you factor in driving and prep time It's actually, $25 an hour is really like 20 or 18.50. So those are other things you have to take into consideration. So the big shift is to go from I work per hour to for I work for value. Value for me, you may be time with your family. Value for you may be vacations. Whatever value is for you, that's what you're working for. And you're going to have more energy and enthusiasm when you're working for value that you truly appreciate and want. That's why people who have high paying jobs are on drugs and doing crazy stuff, because the job does not fulfill their soul. So think about that. Think about what you value. What can really get you that lifestyle that you want. Another part of creating a hustling paradigm is to create 5 revenue streams. I don't care if, a few of them are $50 a month. By creating them and looking at those streams, say you have one that's $50 a month, you can turn that into $2,000 a month. Because the fact that you have the stream and you're looking at it and you're studying, it's going to lead you to another thing, another thing, and another thing where you can increase that. So, ultimately the goal is to have 10. But for the sake of this podcast webinar is 5. So you're doing eBay, Amazon, which is Amazon Merchant Fulfill, where you do the shipping. You're doing FBA, you're doing Craigslist, and maybe Etsy. Okay, that's 5. You want to think in terms of spreading out as much as possible. And I'm actually revamping some concepts and ideas with that, because the way that life is going, it is very, very dangerous to have one source of income. It is very, very dangerous right now. If you have a well-entrenched business and you own a building and it's paid for, that may be a little different. But it doesn't take much to upset the apple cart. And that's why, now this is where it comes in, where, like I said initially, that even if it's $50 a month, and I was like, $50 a month may pay a bill. $50 a month may be the difference between making a payment on some or getting some shut off. $50 is nothing to sneeze at. So by creating these revenue streams and grooming them and looking at them, some will go away. You'll adapt new ones, but it puts you in what I call the money circle. When you have 5 streams of revenue, you always have money coming in. With Amazon, it comes in like twice a month or whenever you do a request. eBay, it's whenever you sell something. Craigslist, whenever you sell something. Etsy, whenever you sell something. And if you set this up right, you have money coming into your account every day of the week. And this is a universal law. Money attracts money. Do this. Take $150 to $500, whatever you can do. Put that money in your wallet. And your goal is not to spend it. I know it sounds crazy. Whenever I have money in my wallet, and I've had it in there for a long time, new money comes in my life because it's attracting money. I know it sounds a little crazy, but I always keep money in my wallet. Always. I don't carry around the large sums I used to, because I'm not buying units anymore and there's really no need. But at a minimum, I'm going to have $150 in my wallet. At a minimum. Because it just creates a situation and creates energy that brings more money into your life. If you're walking around with no money in your wallet, no money in your checking account, no savings account, you create a pull that whenever money comes in your life, it's gone. Because you are not grooming your money to stay in your life. You're not stacking money. You're not creating money management programs, because that's why banks are a trip. If you ever notice, like you open up a CD, it's your money. And if you take that money out before a certain day, there's an early withdrawal penalty. Now, why is that? Because they understand that money begets money. They want to induce you to keep your money with them as long as possible, because the larger pool of money that they have, the more money it will draw. Do you know that $1 million depositor, and this is someone, a business or an individual that has $1 million cash in a branch, can make or break that branch? My banker told me this when our business was doing really well. At one point, we had 1.2 million in the bank. Now, this wasn't all liquid; they had to go stuff. But I got a call from my banker when we reached that because I was getting ready to pay like $200,000 worth of bills, and invited me in. And this is something else. People talk about the American Express Black Card and this and this. Most banks, I would say every bank, probably has something called private wealth management. They can create a special credit card just for you with points, rewards, whatever. Any mid to large size bank has this capability where you go in and show financials, and if you want a credit card with $100,000 limit, they'll give it to you. Totally blew my mind because she broke it down, told me hold this deals, and this was many years ago. And this was business money. This wasn't my money. It was business income. We had like a stunning 6 months in a row, and money just stacked up. But it just illustrated these concepts that I am discovering now, because that month it was just like money kept coming. Money just kept coming. Money kept coming. I paid the bill for $200,000. Then something else happened. I bought a jackpot unit. It was back in there. So understand, by creating this energy in a mass of money, you will draw more money. That's why always spending and always buying is harmful to you if you're trying to create any type of net worth. I'm not saying don't spend. I spend, but I give you an example. And this is going to sound really, really crazy, but I wanted to get a new pair of Converse. And I've been mulling it over for 3 weeks. And I went to a place, I was getting ready to pull a trigger because I went online and I went to the store and the price was comparable. I think there was a difference of $2. I will spend $2 more for immediate gratification. And they didn't have my size nor color, so I left. Now, many years ago, if I did that, if I went to the store, I would have came out with something, because it's like, hey, I went there, I had to buy some because I see that. I used to see that on the store chocolate trail. People would be at the end of the day and it's like, I've been out here all day, I need to buy something. No, you don't. So that's how it works for me, because when I do buy stuff, it's very specific. It's something I thought about and it's something I want, and it's not what I call a flaky or I'm bored. I don't spend money when I'm bored. I do stuff. I'll watch TV. There are many habits that people have. Like, a lot of people spend money because when they're bored, because buying new stuff is exciting. There's something called shopping therapy. It's a high. So that's really dangerous to your net worth. But with that type of stuff and having a spending plan, you start to create pockets of money. And it doesn't have to be a huge sum of money to get you started. Once again, going back to your 5 streams of income. Say you have one that's $50 a month, and you got the other 4, and the other 4 cover all your bills, and there's excess. Take that $50 and just let it stack up. At the end of a year, it's $600. Well, say your business is doing well. That's one source of income. And before you know it, it's maybe $130 or $200 a month. I'm telling you, an extra $250 to $400 a month is huge, because typically you don't even make that on a part-time job where you will expend way more time. So by building this, and I actually have a friend who recently did this 6 months ago. She was having problems, had a car accident, had to get rid of her cell phone because the bill was too high, and she was just always like, wow, this is expensive. And, she listened to me. She created a Kindle book that served the need, and it makes more money than her other books that she wrote first. And that book, plus some other stuff, because her hustling paradigm is Kindle. She's actually doing really well on Fiverr. Fiverr makes her anywhere from $200 to $400 a month. Kindle's about $300. So 6 months ago, she didn't have these sources of income. So right now, she has an additional $400 to $800. This happened in 6 months from Kindle, Fiverr, ghostwriting, and there's something else she does. But she has those streams. And that's why, if you got 50 coming in here, you got $100 going here, $400 coming here, before you know it, you're like, oh, this is a significant amount of money, and it gives you more options, and it's not as fragile as having that one thing. One of the things I learned about being an internet marketer, because that's what I am, is the power of divergent income streams. There was some stuff that went down, and there was a forum where people were just losing their minds over me, and it did hurt my sales tremendously. it was just like, what the heck? I mean, it was a big dip. And my YouTube money jumped up. And it wasn't a complete replacement, but it totally softened the blow. And then I had some other stuff I was doing, and then that's when the first consulting deal for reality television came in, and it was just like I made more money. So it was like if I didn't have those additional streams, I would have been in trouble. And last summer, when I decided to revamp my business, I was able to not really push. I had YouTube money coming in, I had a little Kindle money coming in, and I had Create Space money coming in. And it wasn't a lot, like I said, 1,500, maybe 2,000 a month, but I didn't have a really high consumption lifestyle. So that pretty much covered a lot of the bills. And I had, robust savings. So I'm not going to go, oh no, that's all. I wasn't living like a pauper. I actually had an assistant that I was paying. So that's the power of having, and that was just three. It was just three income streams, just three. So good five. And then when you hit the holy grail of 10, that's why you have to create your hustling paradigm. And I keep saying your hustling paradigm because everyone's paradigm is going to be different. See, what I'm trying to get people to do is to open up their heads and think about what they can do. Recently, someone had posted an article in the reseller group about a girl, and she's 15. Now, 8 years ago, she came up with this ideal of these sparkly flip-flops. These flip-flops are now in Nordstrom's. So she's just like 7-8 years of experience in business, and she's 15. But let's talk about that. And then going back to your hustling paradigm, she took some flip-flops for kids. They're pretty, they're sparkly, they do things. It's a very simple invention. She didn't create anything brand new. She enhanced something that already exists that sells millions of pairs a year, every year. That's all she did. She enhanced it and she stuck with it. So when I say your hustling paradigm, don't think that it has to be something magnificent or something super wonderful, over the top. You can have one, maybe two or three of your hustling paradigms could be very common, very simple stuff that are making you money. So that's why I said your hustling paradigm. Earlier in the hustler mindset, I was saying, take stock of your abilities because you never know what will really put you on. That's one of the reasons I'm always on YouTube. I'm always looking at new stuff because take Create Space. Not Create Space. Take Kickstarter. One of the things, I haven't figured out how I'm going to do it, but Kickstarter is essentially a pre-sale that brings people in and folks become committed to this thing. People like to be part of something. So essentially, you can come up with an ideal product or something and get people to buy in, and essentially they pay you, they prepay you. So that could be, another source of income. I know of maybe 10 people who've done successful Kickstarter programs ranging anywhere from $500 up to $25,000. So these are these opportunities. That's why you got to get creative juices. That's why you got to be honest with yourself and really talk about this stuff with yourself and your family and really think, because it doesn't have to be mind-boggling over the top. I understand if you are a student of Seth Godin and Purple Cow, Brown Cow, but a lot of times some brown cows can make you a lot of money if it doesn't take a lot to manufacture. There aren't high costs and you can sell a lot fast. Brown cows can do a lot of moolah in your wallet. So once again, it's about taking an inventory. And if I can do anything in this whole course that you leave with is for you to think independently and to dig into the deep treasure trove of yourself. Because there's jewels there, there's gold there, there's platinum, there's something there because you have something that someone else wants and they will pay for. So that's a huge, huge part. Another part of creating your hustling paradigm is to become good to awesome in 3 to 5 different things. The new economy is going to dictate that you need to be good in more than one discipline. The old thing is like becoming a master. And I'm not saying don't become a master, but you might be the master of one and damn good with 6 other things. The more you know, the more valuable you are to the world. So learn, take a course. Give you an example. You can go to your local university, take an art course, right? Learn a few things, create something simple. If you've seen the shirts "Life is Good," those designs are not like, oh, but the message behind it is. And that's what people buy. They buy the message. Not so much the design of the little smiley face, "Life is Good." Very simple, but they had a mission. They stuck with it. And that's a multi-million-dollar brand. So once again, doesn't take much except creativity and activity. By being creative and active, you can do many, many things. So start thinking about what are you good at and what can you become good at. You may be close to becoming really good at something. You just stop doing it. Now, I want you to think of your hustle as a team of horses pulling your main goal, which is your life goals. The income streams are the horses they're running, and the carriage is your life goals. All that's pulling your life goals wherever you want them to go. And when you think of that type of team effort and concert, it makes more sense because you've got 2 horses, it's easier at pulling. You have 4 horses, it's easier at pulling. You have 5 or 6 horses, it's really easy for that life carriage to really rock and roll. And that's what I want you to think about, because I said it before, chasing money is not the goal. Chasing greatness, chasing ways that you can help as many people as possible, that will create the byproduct that we call money. But just directly going for money, that doesn't really get it. So think about that, and I want you to write all this up. I want you to listen to this podcast several times, because each time you listen to it, you're going to get a little bit more and a little bit more, and do the exercise of writing down your life goals and how you want to be. If you want to live up in the mountains, if you want a house by the lake, all of this stuff. If you're bold enough to dream it, you're bold enough to achieve it. And it's just a matter. That's 50% of it. Actually knowing what you want. That's 50% of it. Because once you know what you want, you create the energy and the drive to get it. All right. This is Glendon Cameron, and I will see you on the good side.